And a very warm welcome to stage 6 of the Tour of Poland. And after the flatlands of the opening 5 days, the run for home will come as something of a blessing to the climbers who've so far been kept somewhat quiet. Yes, stages 6 and 7 well and truly in the mountains, although it is a runoff towards this finish line at Jelena Góra today. And we're likely to have some sprints and breakaways, that's to be sure. 181 kilometres ahead of the field, including 3 rounds of the double-peaked Karpacz Orlinek and the Karpacz Górny. It's kind of a double-peak mount. It's counted as one mountain. But 6 mountain bonuses are up for grabs. And then tomorrow we come round and we go to the same venue, do it all again, but 7 times by. Amazing. So today's finish not unfamiliar to the peloton, having featured 10 times in the Tour of Poland in the past. It was Stefan Oj for Cofidis who got the better of this particular part of the Tour last year. We've had 5 escapees out there. They've been doing their level best. No surprise that it's one of the wildcard riders, number 203, Hubert Kruijs, who's part of that group. He is a climbing specialist, and he's with Ceramica Flemina. He's one of the 3 Polish riders within that wildcard entry. Don't forget Intel Action, who've been doing so much of the breakaway, courtesy of Lukas Bodnar, albeit during the flatland areas. So, David, it looks like 5 or 4 at least of the escapees may well have been wound in. Liquigas have been doing most of the work to try and get back at them. And in fact, Liquigas over the last couple of days have been very active, haven't they?
They have, and we've been looking at some of Liquigas riders have been bouncing around there in various parts of the proceedings so far, and wondering why they're up to it. And looking down there, because they've got like De Luca in there, who's the leader on the World Cup Series at the moment, so certainly he's been bobbing around all over the place, and we're looking for other rides. But I begin to think that perhaps they're looking at this young lad, Fischer, the Brazilian rider for Liquigas, who's lying second on general classification, 1 second down, and he's just been there or thereabouts all the way through. And so here's could be, I think, a new kid on the block, because no doubt about Liquigas have brought here a very, very strong team indeed, and I think Mr. Fischer is going to catch a few people napping today. But bear in mind, after the climbs we go down to flatland, so it could come back together again. If you look at some of the finishes we've had on the penultimate day, sometimes they come back together. Jan Persik, who coming in and getting a stage before they finished the race and went on to win it overall. So it ain't over yet completely for the mountain climbers today, but I think they'll begin first of all to show their hand. And so, well, they've been in the main pack all the way through the sprinters, the climbers. The sprinters have had their fair show up in front, but these climbs aren't that bad. They're what I call racing climbs. They're not the sort of really steep and nasty ones that the buster guts. Some of the good strong lads can also go up there, so I don't see the thing being too broken up today, but we shall see.
Yes, it's not exactly Alpe d'Huez up there, but it is a tough one. It's interesting that in Flamida, it was Adam Wadecki yesterday who went out with Action Unique's Lukas Bodnar. The man's been winning most of the sprints. He's Polish time trial champion after all. And those two really sort of kept themselves busy yesterday. Suddenly, the peloton woke up to the fact that there was a possibility. And off went Lampre along with Liquigas and the rest of them to try and wind them in. And in fact, Murilo Fischer of Brazil, it was that came across the line in first place yesterday. He was wearing the Mountains jersey, but well, today he'd really have to work hard to keep hold of that, wouldn't he, David?
But he's a dizzy little guy. We've seen him, you know, in the bunch there. He's what I call knee-high to a grasshopper. There's not much about him, and kids like riders like that can actually climb. So it's interesting he's been up there in the sprints as well. So I think he's been coming into them to catch a few people napping, and I would rate him today. But we'll soon find out when we start to go to the first to climbs and what the Liquigas team, who are doing the work, by the way. Cameras haven't gone back to pick them up, but Liquigas have been doing a lot of work to control that breakaway group, and it's coming back bit by bit, but they don't want to catch them too soon, because again they'll suddenly start jumping around the place. I think they'd like to get this first lap under the way with the hills, and then begin to go further on towards the end, because there's a lot of riders in here haven't shown their form in the mountains yet. They don't want to show it too soon either, because that running toward the finish after the last climb today.
It's interesting as well, there's been a few quiet teams as a whole. Bouygues Telecom suddenly yesterday started to show their hand, as if they wanted to get themselves into position before the climb. climbs came about. And all of a sudden we found Johan Le Boulanger, who presumably will be handing out the sandwiches once they get to the top. He's here for Big Telecom, and it's Marco Pinotti as well for T-Mobile. T-Mobile as well, they've kind of been overawed by Lampre so far. Liquigas and Lampre have been sort of bossing the flat stages. Now it's the time of the climbers to stretch their legs and get out there, David.
Yeah, but as usual, when we go to breakaway group, these three riders went off down the road. It means then that the teams they ride for have got to can sit back and don't have to do any of the chasing. So nice little move then as far as T-Mobile, who really come into this race, have the winner from 2005, Kim Kirken, the overall victor, in their squad. And we haven't really seen him firing on all cylinders yet a while. They've been looking after young Gerard Schielik, who's had the misfortune to have an awful thump in the big crash the other day. I think they're looking for him to do well in the flatlands, and he's out the frame now in today's stage. But interesting to see what Kim Kirken does. So T-Mobile done the right thing, sent a man down the road with the early break, which means they don't have to do the chasing.
And all of a sudden, it's all over for our escapees here. Thank you very much, says everybody. And Liquigas are going to power their way through on this one. And guess who you can see right there? Second spot. He's your man.
Yes.
My, oh, my. David?
Mr. Fisher there in the white jersey, sitting. And look, there's another white jersey on his.
Just behind.
Yeah, De Luca's name's been picked as the winner of this race overall. So he's actually following Fisher. So says he tapping the side. I think Mr. De Luca suddenly recognised that he's probably got a challenge for this new kid on the block.
Yes.
Look at the size on there. They're both ditty little bike riders, powerful riders, can climb their mountain, can sprint as well, can roll pretty quick on the flat. So I think we're going to have to watch out for these two.
Yeah, Maurílio Fischer from Brazil, who has taken the mountains jersey, coming to this one. Of course, he did so well yesterday in that drive for home and took it just at the line ahead of Danilo Napolitano, who managed to hold on to the leader's overall jersey. But the way he's riding today, it could well be Fischer in the lead by the day's end. But just stalking him at the moment, his teammate, or in the all-white, that's the Pro Tour Series leader, Danilo De Luca. We said that Liquigas were looking nice and active, and that's exactly what they do. Those four men, they may be in different coloured tops, if you like, but they all ride for Liquigas, and they've got protection all around us. Eros Capecchi is at the moment just punching a hole in the air for the boys, just letting them ease up just a little bit. He's too tall to do anything at the moment. Later on, and look how diminutive Danilo De Luca is. He's almost not this chap. This is Maurílio Fischer. Yeah. They are small, but De Luca, who leads the Pro Tour, it just shows you that kind of stature is exactly what you want when you have a mixed event like road racing. You've got the mountains, you've got the flat, you need to be a sprinter, a time trialist, and he's got it all wrapped into a very, very small, tight, explosive package as Rabobank start to make their move here.
Yes, certainly. So we've got some interesting riders here who are very good climbers as well, but you also get stringy guys. You don't have to always be short little pocket rockets like this. You've got to be a sort of a stringy guy as well to get the big climbs. Looking down, by the way, of the general classification before it starts to blow apart the seams, with Fischer there, he's only 1 second down on Napolitano, who's got the yellow jersey, but Napolitano, a big chunky guy, very specialist when it comes to sprinting, so he's going to be struggling today. I'm pretty sure about that. Whelan's back in third spot, is just 4 seconds down on general classification. Joachim Rojas Gil from the Casa de Pana team, fourth this morning, 14 seconds back. From Gerolsteiner, David Kopp this morning was 16 seconds back in fifth. Still hang on in there in sixth spot. Graham Brown from Rabobank, 16 seconds back. Sebastian Lang from Gerolsteiner was 19 seconds back in seventh spot. Nicolas Russo from AG2R Provence was 19 seconds back, and together with him also at 19 seconds back we had Thomas Vakers, who's I think a bit of a challenge today. Sorry, 20 seconds for Vakers from Discovery Channel, and it was certainly today that Sean Yates was saying he could be in with a shout. So he's only 20 seconds back on the leader's jersey, and the attacks are coming.
Yeah, they're starting thick and fast, and there's probably going to be some more of them, you can be sure of that, because they know that once they get over this climb, if you are in the lead, then you could well, I have to say, David, on the run for home, you've got that final 3 kilometres where any breakaways are likely to go. But you can work for your team here. Tremendous, just sort of break down the attack of Liquigas, and that's exactly what's going on now, because Liquigas just starting to settle into the comfort zone there. They've got their main riders up front, and suddenly what you want as an alternative is somebody to just go out there and just punch a hole in the air, but just punch a hole in the standings for them, and just wake everybody up. Basically, it's Flaminer at the moment.
Yeah, the thing is also, Carlton, there's 120 riders within 20 seconds of the leader, so there's an opportunity. The Liquigas and the other people who want to try and win this one have got a lot to watch out for. 120 riders within 26 seconds of the overall leader.
That was Thomas Marcinski, by the way, the Polish national champion, hence the white with the red band across his chest. He's gone. Others have tried to go with him. Quick-Step are trying to get somebody up there to kind of pull him back, if you like, because they've got Giovanni Visconti, the Italian road racing champion who we saw earlier on. But significantly, they've got Wouter Weiland, who's had the leader's jersey, and, of course, Dimitrio Gabowski as well. And they've sent out a scout to try and just haul him back. Get in front of him, just slow down a bit, just try and slow him down ever so slightly to help everybody else. And it's Hubert Schwab who's been given the duty of doing exactly that, David.
Yes, and we're heading into today. Will it be a sprinter to get it? Because the people looking for the overall success by try and keep the thing down, because they've got 10 seconds bonus again for the winner across the line. But certainly looking back over the people that have won this race in the past into their finish, my memory goes back to Jan Kursipu, who's won a stage at the back end of this race, and he has won something like 130 races, 6 days in the yellow jersey. So just a word for him from Estonia, because of his great long success. Not riding him, a lovely guy, and again the sprinters usually on the bikes they're very abrasive, but off the bike he was a very gentle, very nice man, very friendly guy, and certainly not retired now, but a man who can win stages in things like the Tour de France and things in Tour of Spain, and the success he's had throughout his whole career. I think it's nice to give him a mention here, because he has won here on this circuit in the past. And so, Jan Kursipu, you may be listening to us wherever you are, but enjoy your retirement. As far as De Luca is concerned, he needs to be up there at the top end for the points on the Pro Tour Series. But I think he wouldn't try and work one over his teammate, because if they get him in the yellow jersey, then the rest of the field have got to attack the yellow jersey and not attack De Luca. And De Luca will have a bit more freedom tomorrow.
Well, he's certainly handy in the mountains as well. He's a diminutive character, as we've well pointed out, but he's more than capable on the climbs. Interesting, David, just looking at how hard these guys are working out front. And Case d'Espagne, I don't know whether they got the call late to go to the front here, but they look like they've been working very hard, an awful lot harder than the Liquigas boys and the Quick-Step boys, and the Lampre boys look very comfortable here, almost dangerously so.
Well, it depends also where Weiland is in the Quick-Step team, because I'm just wondering, in fact, as to whether, because he's a big guy, as to whether he got shot off on the climbs. We haven't seen anything much, except one Quick-Step rider went off and had a bit of a sort of flurry at the front. As to whether, if Weiland's is not going well, then certainly that is why I think also Castepan are getting stuck in with the Liquigas team to try and keep the pressure on, because if Weiland's is out of the frame, then it does mean that Fischer and Rojas could be moving up into the top places, and that will be worth them putting the pressure on if Weiland's hasn't made it into this group.
Watch out for Weiland's blue points classification jersey. He will have, naturally enough, he will have Quick-Step shorts on.
Which are also blue,
just to confuse us. Yeah, so it may well be that he's hiding under a bushel somewhere.
Under blue jerseys.
Yes, exactly. Lampre don't have that much work to do. Alessandro Ballan is nearest to the front as far as they're concerned, the overall classification. 22 seconds down. It's not undoable, you know.
No, I think what I would suggest that they are not going to do much today in that respect, Lampre. They've lost the overall lead. If they want to try too hard, because if they're going to try and blow the thing tomorrow and put a Ballant into a winning position. He's 22 seconds down. There's no sense trying to get the odd second back today. So if you'll find them near the front, so they don't have a fall off. So they have maybe one man in front of Ballant, and you can see the jerseys there, the pink and the blue jerseys, moving a bit towards the front. And I don't think they're going to be too bothered about it, because I think Fabio Baldato, who's probably their best sprinter other than Ballant, has probably drifted off the back with what we've seen so far. We know that their man in the yellow jersey, Napolitano, is gone, so I think they'll just stay at the front to keep the pot boiling, keep the man out of trouble, because at the front this is where the accidents don't happen. And you can see the white and the light blue colours coming up. This is because David Kopp from Gellerstein this morning, 16 seconds down general classification. They've got to keep a man up near the front, so we're seeing the colours here of people who are in that top half a dozen places and want to make sure there's no trouble and not getting caught. But again, you see also then riders to say, well, we haven't got anybody up there, let's have a try and go for a stage victory today, and let's see if this is going to work. I'm not sure it's going to. Crédit Agricole haven't got much to show for their activities so far. And I think
Benoit Poilvet going off.
Yeah.
Let's not forget as well, David, Gerolstein have got two men absolutely up there in the vanguard. Sebastian Lang is there as well. A couple of Germans for the Gerolsteiners to work hard for, and both in the sub-22nd class. If one or other of them was to get the sprint today, that opens it wide up for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they're just keeping the lid on it and just make sure they all come in together out of trouble, particularly so that sharp hairpin bend coming towards the back end. You've got to be near the front, because they go whiz around that, but somebody falls off. You can lose a bit of time then on the running towards the finish.
Right, you're not going to get a look, if you like, at the start-finish line. We're going to pass by it, but albeit in the wrong direction. They'll then head off down towards the 180-degree turn, and then it will be back in and hell for leather for the final kilometre, and it's going to be one heck of a rush. Well, Crédit Agricole clearly fancy it. I don't think he's going to stay out there for much longer, and that is the turn onto the big, long, I assume here. I haven't seen the 3 kilometres to go marker yet. I don't know if you noticed it, David.
I haven't, no, and obviously that's the point where if they fall off after that, they get given the same time. But I think these riders here, they'll know it's a goodish finish anyway. It's just that hairpin bend that's going to cause them a bit of trouble. They're accelerating now, winding it up, but not going fast enough to split the field. So it's just a matter of keeping out of trouble, making sure that, again, what we're not going to see quite the same way is we won't see so many lead riders pulling off to put their sprinters in place. As I think we're coming to 3Ks to go now, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's our entry point. Doesn't exactly say so.
No, it doesn't have the 3K on it.
So we are winding ourselves up here. Both David and I are winding ourselves up. You can believe that.
5Ks to go.
5Ks to go. There it is. Yes, we couldn't see any marker on there at all, which was a bit of a shame. But nonetheless, will it be Murillo Fischer for Liquigas? Will it be Danilo De Luca? Will Vincenzo Nibali spoil the party for both of them? I don't think he'll be allowed to do so, but will he do it anyway? Liquigas, that's amongst them. What about Quick Step? Well, they're fighting for Wouter Weiland. We're still not absolutely certain that he's in there. Watch out for Gerolsteiner as well. Rabobank and Graham Brown. We think he's done his lot in the mountains. Haven't managed to pick him out just yet amongst the bunch, David. I'd be very surprised if he was still there.
If he's there, he's hanging on by his fingernails. I think he'd been really struggling up there, Graham. So I wouldn't put him. Now, we've got to certainly look to be like Fischer and Kopp, who've been up there in the sprints, as to be maybe the chaps who could go for it today. And there's so much at stake then for the Liquigas team with Fischer that they've got a very good chance, I think, to do something about it.
Well, Murillo Fischer in the sprint classification coming into today was third. Of course, leads the mountains class, and naturally enough, he's second overall. Well, he will be the leader if something untoward happened right now. Napolitano's way off the back. He's presumably ordering a Neapolitan ice cream at the moment.
I could be doing just that.
I don't think we're going to see him tomorrow. we might do, but he didn't look well up for it. Let's put it that way.
I doubt it, because they know tomorrow they're going to straighten the mountain. It's all day in the mountain, and I suggested he'll go back, have a nice massage tonight, and then watch the racing tomorrow, because they'll all have their flights and transport booked, I think, for tomorrow evening. So there's no sense in trying to go back tonight. I think he'll have a nice time off tomorrow, watch the racing go on, and then off they go with the team back home tomorrow. But well earned his yellow jersey and the success he had so far, so we won't take it away from him. Well, inside the life 4Ks, the 3Ks will come up shortly.
Well, Lampre just can't stop working, despite the fact that Danilo Napolitano is absolutely nowhere to be seen. They're still doing the job that they were paid to do in the first place. And it's just a question of how they're going to marshal themselves here for this blast along this last 3 kilometres. So, David,
it looks like Milram begin to move forward now. That's interesting. Yes, well, they haven't got much to show for coming here.
Gerolsteiner are also having a little bit of a look here as well. This is fascinating stuff. Just where or why? So, round they come. They're on the superhighway now. It'll be the 3 kilometres to go mark next. It is. In fact, we've passed the 3 kilometre mark. That is the start-finish line in reverse, as it were. It's on the other side of the road, so now everyone runs over, get a good spot for the finish, and away they go. Remember I was saying about this big banana highway? That's what they're on now. It's the run for home in reverse, if you see what I mean. They're going to come right the way down to an intersection. They're going to switch back on themselves and come back along this big curving road here. If you want to get yourself into position, I suggest, David, now is the time. And look at De Luca. He's getting himself right there, and he's cranking it up already.
Both the white jerseys in that turning to there was Fisher then, who's lying second overall on the competition. He's got that white jersey on together with De Luca. And so those two to rise at the moment then have got it all worked, all cut out, haven't they? They've set themselves in both jolly good position. Liquigas done a wonderful job. They've still got a man on front as well, stretching this thing out. They're so well placed right now. Look, unusual. I can't understand why the Milram riders are getting stuck in there, but they are. Moving on the right-hand side, if you look back down the course, Gerolsteiner for Kopp will start to move forward as well.
Well, this is absolutely fascinating because Fisher's just been dropped a little bit. He's down in about 7th place. It's one of the Francis de Jeux that's just confusing us momentarily out there. But Danilo De Luca is certainly up amongst them. There's the switchback now. Boys, keep it nice and safe, please. Round they go. We don't want anyone going down. It's better to be wide on the outside than tight on the inside. And now it starts to happen, David. We're heading for the 1 kilometre to go mark. That is what that air inflatable bridge is all about. And from that moment on, it's speed up time because we're waiting for them at the start-finish line of this double loop here. This time by, it will be it. And they've got to start moving now. And suddenly they pick it up. And David, it's CSC that have hit the front here. CSC are going for this, and they've got plenty on board. We said Andy Schleck might well be part of this. The Schleck brothers know how to work together, and look at that as well. It's Cioni as well for Predictor Lotto. He wants a piece of this too. Where did he come from? He's come back.
I go for Jens Voigt at the moment, having a go on the front. They're looking very strong indeed. Certainly CSC have taken the chance to go for it because they realised that the Liquigas string had pulled over and weren't in contention, so it's every man for himself right now. And obviously Lampre decided they might have a go for Balan because suddenly Lampre starting to go on the far side. Will this man hang on? I've just thrown my hat in the ring and saying it's going to be Jens Voigt. He's sort of tactic, and it's not, I think, Cancellara, because Cancellara does things like this. In fact, it could be Cancellara, the big tall guy. He's done this before with 1 kilometre to go. It is, I think, Cancellara on the front. Are they going to get him right now? And the sprinters team has started walking up then for the Gerolsteiner team. Kopp, can he get this victory? Still pushing and shoving.
Kopp's got it. He's absolutely gone. He's shot too early, and the whole bunch are coming together, packing together across the line. It's going to be Liquigas apart from anything right across the line right at the end.
No, Ciolacchi from Ciolacchi. It was
unbelievable.
Ciolacchi from T-Mobile.
Where did he come from? Let's take a look at that as they come across the line here, because I'm still certain it was one of the, I think it might have been Nibali there from Liquigas. Let's take a look at that one, David. They were so tight together. With whose hands went up, you just couldn't call it for one moment or the other. Astana also in the mix there with Iglinski wanting to get a piece of this one. That was just such a rush for home. Look at this.
Hello. No, they're saying it's your turn. It's not
indeed.
that. So, well, right on the other side there, it looked to me like
that's
that might have been
we were talking about before.
Yes.
Well, we did Cees Despan, who were working so hard, and they've given it to him. Cees Despan, well, we mentioned the fact, David, that they were they were open-mouthed and really working hard, whereas everyone else seems so relaxed about them, and they've worked for this boy, and he's done it.
I mistook the colour because it looks very similar to the T-Mobile colour from the top, the red and the back behind it, but certainly coming through there, and that then gives him the... Yep. So the CSC rider done a good run for it. It could well have been cancelled. Typical tactics for us. He could look a big enough rider to go for it, the world time trial champion. Then Lampre took up the charge, and then he just flicked there to show that to keep out on the left-hand side, lads, because there's somebody here would say that's a good signal to say what's going. Certainly you can see the pink jersey back there when I thought it was Ciolacchi going for it. Well, where then did man Rojas come from? Because he
broke from the bunch.
He's very buried in there.
He did a Graham Brown right at the end here, started using his elbows and came very, very wide. Let's take a look as they come here.
He's still locked in there, absolutely locked in there. He's in no man's land. He's looking for a gap to come through, and still hidden.
Well, it was about now that I really was certain that the Liquigas rider had done it. And I thought, is that Nibali out front really powering in? Didn't quite make it.
No,
and suddenly
Nibali,
there's space opening up over towards the left of your screen. And this was the moment. And in fact, came up on the other side of him. Was that...
Well, that's a pink jersey to me. And look, he's thumbing down. I got Schulich down. And where did he come from then?
To be honest,
saying he's got it.
I think he did. And the reason was that the Liquigas guy who I was calling across the line sat up and celebrated, and it got nicked on the line. Let's have a look. Well, to me, that's Liquigas. To me, that's Liquigas. I think they've graphicked the wrong guy there.
Well, the Schulich was, to me, was the big guy from let's wait for the confirmation of this one.
Let's make the confirmation.
I thought, in fact, the Team Mobile got it, but I think you're right that they went to Liquigas rider. But
and here he goes. There he is in the centre of your screen now.
Yeah. Then the Team Mobile guy comes off him. Look, the Team Mobile guy is going. And fast off he comes through
here. He goes down on the inside. Now, did he make it in time? I don't think he did, David. Busy sitting up and celebrating. That's the wrong thing to do.
No, wrong guy. I'm sure the Liquigas rider got it.
So am I. Well, there we are. I hold my hand up.
But was that Baldato? Because he's their best sprinter, by the way. I hope I have another look at that then, because he's the best sprinter. Ballon is pretty quick as well off the mark. But where they got then?
There we are. It was Pozzato.
I must have known to go for him because he's another good sprinter.
Well. Thankfully, we got the right team.
And I got the wrong rider. It's Burkhardt, not you. We've got the teams right. We didn't get the riders right. Where's the dark corner?
Filippo Pozzato. Forgive us for calling it as Nibali. Pozzato, the Liquigas rider, came through at the end. He almost threw it away by over-celebrating early. He was sitting up at this point. And, coming through very tight on the inside was Rojas, but didn't quite make it. It was the width of a tyre in the end. Oh, gosh.
But it won't change the overall classification then. Rojas being second.
We're going to get that right now, David.
So, in fact, the overall classification, there it is.
And it is Mr. Rojas. Overall, who's been given it. I think they've punched in the wrong numbers. I think they've still got the number 78 is taking that, but I may be wrong. Well, he was fourth before the day began here, and just about everyone else has fallen by the wayside, so I wonder if he has managed it. We may well have had some graphical problems here, but nonetheless, it's been one heck of a day on the Tour of Poland. Rojas being given the general overall for the time being. We'll get confirmation of that naturally enough for you tomorrow. But the day, what has been a super day of climbing, boxing and bruising through the hills, has gone to Filippo Pozzato from Liquigas, who worked much of the day, you have to say, out front. I'm Colton Kirby alongside with David Duffield. Hope to have you company tomorrow. We'll get our binoculars out. We'll see you then, live as ever on Eurosport 2. From Poland, for now, it's bye-bye.